Welcome to the second OutSystems Developer Conference. Thank you. I'm Jen Lopez. I run the developer relations team at OutSystems. I'm very excited to come to you this morning from Lisbon. So it's been a few years since we had a full conference totally dedicated to all things developer. And what I wanted to do first is take a look back at that first event in 2018 and get a few highlights. Hopefully, we can have it in person next time, right? This year, this event is all about you. You know, when we opened the call for speakers, we had hoped that maybe we'd get a few more speaker submissions than we had last year. Yeah, we ended up doubling the number of submissions. We had 200 plus submissions. So when I say that this conference is not just for you, but also by you, I'm being serious, because these sessions that you're going to attend, they are direct from the field. We have developers and architects and designers and tech leads and all the people building things with OutSystems actually giving the talks and talking to you at all the sessions. But it's not just that, right? We're also coming to you in your time zone. So you have people who, live near you. Well, near you might be different, but, speaking at each of these sessions, and each of these agendas are unique to the time zone. Very excited. So whether you're just getting started or you're already a seasoned OutSystems developer, we have sessions for you. Every session has a level, so you'll know if it's beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and you can find the one that fits for you. Not only do we have these literally hundreds of technical sessions from experts around the globe, but we also have tracks dedicated to career development, diversity and inclusion, community, and a lot more. Every session has a Q&A and a chat. And we would really encourage you to participate as much as you're comfortable. We'll have folks in all of the sessions helping, answering questions, and doing all of that. Feel free to participate. Okay, so before we jump in to this morning's keynote and get the day really started, I wanted to highlight just a few important things. So, first, if you have not downloaded the OutSystems app yet, you should get on that. Check the App Store for the OutSystems events. We have a fun challenge to capture all of the NEOs throughout the app. And for every NEO that you find, we'll donate money toward 3 scholarships from organizations for underrepresented groups in technology. We'll learn more about those organizations tomorrow. And at the end of day 2, which is tomorrow, I'm very happy to announce the first ever NEO Awards. So those are awards dedicated to the community, members who have made significant contributions over the last year in the community. Anything from answering questions in the forum, organizing events, building Forge components for everybody to use, that sort of thing. Tomorrow afternoon, they'll be presented live in your time zone to community members in that time zone. So you definitely won't want to miss that. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. First things first, let's, get started with today. If you attended Next Step, you heard about Project Neo, right? And a focus on growing the developer ecosystem. Well, if you didn't, you're in for a treat today. At OSDC, we're going to take a deep dive into both of those topics. This morning, we'll do what I like to call a double click on the technology, and you'll get that deep dive into Project Neo. Tomorrow morning will be all about the people, that means you, and hear directly from community members. All right, who's ready to get on with the show? All right, so without further ado, I'm very happy to welcome to the stage our CEO and co-founder, Paulo Rosado.
Oh my God. This is what I've been waiting for. I am the last thing between you guys and some really cool technical explanation and demos of Project Neo. And so I really wanted to make this very, very short, but I wanted to actually say a couple of words. And those words, I would like to start first with our seasoned developers who have been supporting us for all these years. You're the reason why we're here. You actually bet your career on OutSystems. You took the plunge several years ago when there was no category. OutSystems was fundamentally on its own, selling this vision of software innovation, of increased productivity, building software that would take innovative, creative ideas into customers. Actually, it was the combination of your vision, your feedback, our vision, our implementations that ended up by actually reshaping a full industry, the industry of custom software development. And we together, we created a whole new category. We at OutSystems, we're really, really grateful for all the help that you've gave us. Now, the other thing also that has been tremendously important for us and for the community at large is the participation that we've seen in terms of posts, building the components that appear at the Forge and that increase dramatically their usability and the patterns so that new members, new customers actually can take advantage of a lot of knowledge that our developers, that you guys have actually accumulated over these years. And also the fact that this community is a really, really cool and warm community. We have one of the fastest response times for answering questions. The amount of ideas we get in terms of enhancements of the product and the way those ideas are framed, fundamentally, you're going to see a lot of those as we go through the following presentations. But it's fantastic because a lot of what is now in our product, I would probably say that more than 90% comes from the community. And the fact that whenever there's a new member coming into the community, it can learn faster, it can start building faster, it can innovate faster, and it's all because of you. So thank you very much. And for the new members who are here and have been the OutSystems community recently, welcome. We know you are now in the process of committing yourself to using this technology and innovating faster, but we know that building serious apps actually takes serious commitment. OutSystems is not used to solve small tactical problems. We're actually changing lives of businesses. We're dramatically changing the direction of businesses. We are building mission critical. You are building mission critical applications. And so that takes serious commitment. And so we thank you for that commitment to OutSystems. And we want to pay back. We want to give you the assurance that our commitment to you is total. And we are going to further invest and support as we move forward into the future. We are serious about that. Now, I would like to give you a status of our community, some numbers. Today, as of today, We have 520,000 community members. We've had experienced 2 million application downloads from our Forge. And today, also in terms of our education, our community has completed more than 450,000 courses online. In the past 18 months, we have certified 23,000 developers. And today, we have a very, very large workforce with a tremendous, vibrant community of customers that want to use that workforce, and that workforce that wants to innovate on behalf of those customers. But it's not enough. And so we want to do more. And this is some of the things that we are planning to do and that we've been announcing in our keynotes and the likes. It's all about betting on people, betting on the community, betting on developers, betting on you. Yesterday, we announced Project Neo. Today, we're going to dive into how we implement, how we deliver the promise of serious apps. And Patrick is going to give you a sneak preview under the hood of this massively sophisticated platform. You're going to see some architecture diagrams, going to be able to geek out how the compiler works, how we're increasing dramatically the speed and the feedback cycle of CI/CD. So all of those things are going to become clear as Patrick goes through his presentation. On the other hand, we're also going to give you an idea of how we're further advancing this notion of serious productivity. Pedro is going to talk about this fundamental operating model that we're using inside our product management group in terms of choosing what are the features and how we can implement more productivity, how we can enhance the tools that we use in our platform. That operating model works on very, very simple principles, but it's all about how can you deliver software faster, how can you iterate faster, how can you get that vision of serious apps, but in much, much faster time spans. And so between demos and architecture diagrams, this will give you a fairly good idea of what Project Neo is all about. And because we have been waiting for this for some time already, I'm really eager to get started. Patrick?
Thank you, Paulo. All right, and as promised, I'm wearing my Neo shirt today, and little bonus, got my Neo socks on too. All right, who's ready to have some fun, huh? All right, as we talked about yesterday in Next Step, this past year, the product team has been living and breathing Project Neo. We've been hard at work laying the foundation of our future at OutSystems. So I've been waiting for this day for quite a while to share some details with you, so let's get into it. We're going to take a peek under the hood, right? We talked about a lot of the good things that's coming out, but we really want to go underneath the hood, look at the technology as far as in Project Neo. First, we're going to start with our foundational design principles of the platform. It's like the why. Think about it, why. Why did we go do all these different things? What are the drivers, that made us make these decisions? That's going to be very important. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go into the architecture, look at the core technology architecture, right? I mean, everybody wants to talk about Kubernetes, right? I love Kubernetes, but that's not all there is in this product. There's a lot more than just Kubernetes, and we're going to go into that, really talk about how we built this modern cloud-native platform. Then we kind of go through that scenario as far as looking at the architecture. We're going to look at some of the challenges we're addressing with Neo, right? It's not about architecture and technology for technology's sake, right? It's like, what does this bring to us, right? And we have some challenges, right? We're not perfect, right? We have a great product. There are some things we can improve. And so we're going to go through some of those things and really talk about that. We've listened to your feedback, right? We hear as far as what's going on. Customers have great stories. There's also some things they want us to improve. So we'll talk about those things. In the end, we're always focused on the customer, right? That's what drives all of our decision making. Foundational principles, right? We have really 3 core foundational principles in the product. Build it fast is the first one. We talk about speed over and over and over again, right? It drives us forward, right? We focus on speed. think about building applications when the visual designer, it's all about speed, getting to that application, design, getting to the data, getting to the logic in there. It's about getting it super fast. Well, we have that same concept on the cloud side. So we want to increase the power, increase for the performance, but we don't want to add complexity, right? And so it's a very challenging, very difficult thing to do. The core of that concept and that idea is serious apps with serious productivity, right? So build it fast, right? Build it fast. Get a serious app out there, but very, very fast. Extremely important concept. We want to build serious apps with serious productivity. Build it right? That is our second foundational principle. Modern cloud architecture for power and performance, but secure by design. You can't put it in the cloud, have it work as far as extremely powerful, not be secure. We have secure by design principles built in. And serious productivity. So serious productivity to us means applications that deliver upon that speed that we talk about. All of the utilities built into that as well. So we have speed, and then we have availability, reliability, everything that would consider a non-functional requirement built into that. Extremely important. Third design principle, build for the future. Evergreen cloud, we've talked about that as far as the next step. We've talked about it today. This is a core concept to what we do. Always on, always updated, pain-free upgrades. You get the latest, you get the greatest all the time with Project Neo. So as we add new cloud services to this as well, you'll get the benefit of it. So you don't have to worry about doing all that heavy lifting. All right, some of our core technology changes that we made. Windows VMs and IaaS, we've moved that over now to Linux containers and Kubernetes. All right. It's not all about Linux and Kubernetes. We got a lot more to go. So, just hold on to your excitement for a bit. We know that's extremely important to everybody. It's a foundational aspect of what we do in Project Neo. .NET Full Framework 4 to .NET 6. Another aspect that's going to give us... Yes? Yep. It's a tremendous performance improvement. It's also a significant security improvement too. There are multiple benefits to it, but .NET 6 running Linux containers, you don't have to worry about all the technology heavy lifting to get there. That is in our platform in Project Neo. Fully integrated, modern OAuth 2 token identity. So it's throughout the platform. You get it in the development platform. You get it in the runtime for the applications. Once again, you don't have to do any heavy lifting to make it happen. You can use your own authentication endpoints. You can use your own IDP. You can use ours if you want. We give you choice as far as on the authentication side. Or our Postgres. So moving away from maybe more what you consider heavyweight transactional database systems to cloud native type systems. And so what we can do with Postgres serverless on AWS is enable no downtime autoscaling. So this is something that's been significantly asked for. Modern global CDN acceleration. So we've laid out, and we're going to go into a little bit more details on this, we've laid out a CDN and an edge that allows for some things such as private path acceleration, caching, web application firewall at the edge. And so we'll talk about a little bit about this, of the defense in depth approach from a security standpoint. It's extremely important, but with CDN and what we're doing there, we have significant capabilities for security as well as performance. We know COVID has brought a change to a lot of the workforces and also the customer base for applications that people have developed. You basically have people all over the world now, where before people would be in more located, centrally located geos. Now they're all over. Digital nomads, right? That's another thing from a workforce standpoint. So when you build applications today, you don't know where people are going to be, right? And this is something that the global CDN is really going to help as we deploy this out. Once again, no heavy lifting on your part. And open telemetry. So this is another operational side we talk about, a little behind the scenes, right? Kind of like Kubernetes is, but it is something that customers have asked for significantly, is they want access to events, they want access to logs, right? They want to kind of understand what's going on in the application. So even though you don't have to put a lot of effort into designing applications, you still want to know what's going on. So if you have an open telemetry based or open telemetry compliant, as far as event management system, you can hook straight in and get that information. All right, core architecture changes. We have separated the platform and the runtime infrastructure. That has been a big ask. That's something that many customers have said, hey, could we please keep these separated? So in Project Neo, totally separate infrastructure, obviously running on Kubernetes. You can scale your development independently of your applications. So development platform, all your developers hitting it, applications in different stages, all those scale independently. So a significant performance improvement. It's also asked from a security standpoint. This is in Project Neo. Your runtime database now, I talked about you have a separate environment as far as with the runtime database. That is really just your data. So your database for your application, your data, really nothing else in there. And so we have a good, strong isolation. We can kind of wrap a boundary around that. Very standard as far as approach from an application standpoint. Microservices platform. This is another thing that is significantly different in Project Neo than what we've had today. Each platform service is a microservice. So we've decomposed as far as our development platform into a series of microservices, each one of them containerized, each one of them versioned. So if you think about what this gives us the power of, we can roll out new changes, right? We can roll out new versions of our platform services, still have older versions in there. You get a nice, clean, smooth, new versions of the platform without worrying about downtime. Auto scale on demand. So a bunch of developers developing at the same time. Many different reasons that could happen. End of the month, you got some type of patch that has to go out, whatever it is. All these developers get on the system. We will scale the platform out as you need it. Today, it's a little bit more challenging. With Project Neo, this just happens automatically. Safe platform upgrades. And so talked about as far as the versioning and how that works, but the concept and many other pieces that we rolled into the microservices platform allows us the ability to have these safe platform upgrades. So pain-free, right? That is the concept, pain-free upgrades. Always latest, always on. All right, a microservices platform is a lonely place without event and messaging-based orchestration. We have that throughout the entire platform. So if you think of our platform, cloud infrastructure at the bottom, in the middle is our development platform, really the core, right, of Project Neo. And then at the top of that are your applications. The full stack, all orchestrated via events and messages, fully asynchronous, significant enhancement to our platform. This is a significantly different architecture than what we have as far as in our current offering. So if you go into, think of like the cloud infrastructure when we need to scale that out, happens automatically, like we talk about. Think about the next layer off of cloud infrastructure, your build and deployment. This is based upon Kubernetes. This also scales out as needed. So scale out the nodes of Kubernetes clusters. It'll also scale out pods within Kubernetes clusters. And then at the application runtime. So applications built on Project Neo has that same concept, right? You can scale these things out automatically. You don't have to worry about it. The application, the Project Neo platform, it sees the load coming in and as needed, scales this out. It's also something where you can hook into events within those applications and do specific scaling functions on it. So significant changes as far as within the platform on our auto scaling capability. All event-based, all fully orchestrated. Fit for purpose, platform storage choices. Today, a little bit different. We're storing most of our data within transactional databases. Project Neo, we're moving forward. We're taking objects, we're storing them in S3. We're taking secrets, storing them in HSMs, transactional data, transactional databases, documents, document databases, fit for purpose storage choices. Global routing at the network layer allows us to do a significant number of things on security, high availability, performance, basically multi-region routing across the world. Deploy your application once, you can access that at any point. The choice is yours, how you want to do it, different regions, one region. But the platform provides the ability to access that everywhere. Security by design, baked into the platform. This is really one of our top level principles. You cannot develop a cloud application today effectively without having security by design baked in. You develop this application on the OutSystems platform, you container-based scanning of all images, you have a secure edge with a web application firewall, end-to-end encryption as far as all network traffic, fully modern integrated OAuth 2 system. Extremely important. All right, there's another behind the scenes as far as change that's going on. It's not real obvious to a lot of people, but ring-based deployment. Significant benefit here where we continue to improve the speed of delivery while managing and allowing customers choice on their risk level. So think of the standpoint, if you need to be more compliant and you need to wait for releases to come out, you can wait. You can choose to go out in a further ring. If you want to actually get the latest and greatest really fast, you can go to an earlier ring and do it. So ring-based deployment allows you individually as well as your customers to choose where they want to go in that whole pipeline from application delivery. Communications are done via REST API and messaging. So we've rationalized the full API surface. So we've offered up as far as APIs in the past, and this is not something as far as totally brand new, but in Project Neo, it really gave us the opportunity to go and rationalize this API surface. And so you'll see a significant investment in what we're doing. And this is core, right, for our open architecture principles. So we've talked about why we're doing things. We've talked about how we're doing things. So let's talk about kind of some of the benefits of what we're getting to solve some of these challenges. And so this is obviously, like I said, this is not technology for technology's sake, right? We know we're doing this to make sure that we can move forward to this bold new future, but we're going to solve some of these earlier problems along the way. One of the things that we've heard from customers, compiles take too long, right? Some very large, as far as applications, very large solutions, it takes a while, right? And so we need to shorten that down. We have that focus on speed. Elastic, one-click publish. Compiler basically scales out our 1CP operation across whatever as far as containers is needed. We've moved the platform into independent microservices, as I mentioned. Complete isolation across all tenants. So don't worry as far as your data, as far as another customer's data, right, is fully isolated. It is an extremely fast way now to do 1CP. We're seeing some significant performance gains for customers. I will say that might be one of the most asked for, maybe not, but it may be one of the most asked for as far as improvements. Which leads us to, now we do not do recompile for every environment. So, yeah, that is awesome. Maybe this could be the second most asked for as far as improvement. And so what we've done as far as with the coming out of one-click publish that I just talked about, you get a container and a registry. You don't have to go and recompile, rebuild the software, and then deploy it again. We take that container down. They're stored, securely, right? And we deploy that down into your environment. Significantly faster deployment of containers that way. We do obviously bind containers to environment variables. We embed secrets as far as in the configuration. So all that still happens. The true change engine works, get the same results at the end, but extremely, extremely fast. Runtime performance and scalability. This is a focus for us. It is an ongoing focus for us. We'll always continue to focus on this. However, with Project Neo, we have a significant leap ahead. We've talked about the isolated database per app. That is important. It's a foundational design principle. We talked about Kubernetes autoscale. We talked about Linux and Windows and .NET and 6. We talked about CDN. But you pull all those things together, they have a stacking approach, right? A stacking result and impact. Runtime performance and scalability significantly improved with Project Neo. Disaster recovery. So business continuity, disaster recovery by design. It is something that customers have asked for over and over and over again. You have large apps, you have customers that need them. BCDR by design baked into your applications. You basically just have to select that option on how you want that application deployed. It will be available no matter where you want it. We have a global routing network that allows your customers, your end users to get access to your applications. Application level configuration of HA from local availability zones all the way up to region-based failover. Significant improvement. Pain-free upgrades. So if you think about Evergreen Cloud and the principle we've been talking about, always on, always updated, really the aspect that comes through to you as far as customers is that you can get this upgrade without pain. It's fast, you get it, it's pain-free. This is a significant investment we've made. Some of the little bit of the technology behind the scene that gets us there. API version routing, we can route as far as your applications with our API management layer. You can do side-by-side multi-version container deployment. So if you think about Kubernetes, you have all these containers as far as in the cluster. Your existing major version is running. we deploy out another major version right next to it. So the next version up, you're in +1, deploy it out. Very straightforward, very low risk, availability, always on. If it's not a major version, maybe it's a minor version, right, as far as your updates. We'll actually roll those upgrades through in the Kubernetes cluster. So both of these are a very effective way to have pain-free upgrades. All right, enough hearing me talking about technology, even though it's awesome and it's amazing. So would like to turn this over to Tom Jones from AWS. We've been working with him and his team for the past year on this Project Neo journey. Tom, take it away.
Thanks, PJ. Cloud native architecture. We heard PJ mention this. This is one of the cornerstones of Project Neo. It's designed for the cloud. And we see this in some of the design decisions that PJ mentioned. The move to EKS, the move to containers, the compile step out of the deployment, and using the speed of container deployment to speed that up. These are all great decisions that are going to drastically reduce the amount of time it takes you to do your deployments, and also it will ease the burden of operations and the speed of deployment of the underlying platform. OutSystems has been able to leverage AWS programs and tools as part of the architecture for Project Neo. Things like the AWS Restack program, where we help software vendors re-architect their existing solutions. Another tool is the AWS Well-Architected program, where we take a look at the architecture through 5 different lenses. Things like performance efficiency, cost optimization, reliability, operational excellence, and security. Looking at the architecture through each of these lenses gives a unique perspective on the architectural trade-offs that you need to make in order to design a cloud-native architecture. We heard PJ mention scale on demand and deploy on demand, and the idea of being able to scale essentially infinitely to meet your customer need, and being able to deploy as quickly as possible so that you can go from idea to implementation as quick as possible. Both those are key architectural components that have been built into Project Neo. I was excited to hear PJ's comment on security by design. At Amazon, we have a saying, and that is security is job zero. It's the foundation on which all of the rest of our business is built. And it warms my heart to see our partners embracing a similar philosophy. The end-to-end encryption, the use of AWS services like KMS for tenant security, the tenant isolation and data model, those are really important architectural underpinnings of Project Neo. PJ, you and your team are doing great work for developers. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it. It has been a pleasure working with you on Project Neo. All right, we've just done a peek under the hood for Project Neo. What'd y'all think? Yeah. Like it? Yeah? So the way I like to think about this is what our focus is on the outcome for Project Neo is if you were building cutting edge apps today, if you were a startup, how would you do it? You would do it like we did it with Project Neo. That's the approach. That's the focus we have, right? We're doing that hard work for you. You do not have to go in, do all this heavy lifting. You do not have to figure out how to do internet scale cloud native applications. We do that. We give it to you with extreme speed. And it is not proprietary. So it's fully compiled code base, standard database access. There's nothing really different about how it would deploy it out rather than open standards. We've done all that for you. Open system architecture, evergreen cloud, built upon open standards. That's Project Neo. And now Pedro is going to show us how to build applications on Project Neo.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. So for those who haven't met me, my name is Pedro. I'm the Director of Product Management at OutSystems. And I've been working in the OutSystems ecosystem for the past 15 years. From developer to partner to customers, and now product management at OutSystems, there was always something I fell in love with this product, which was how it always made me and my colleagues much more productive. Yesterday, during the keynote, Gonçalo showed how Neobank, this huge banking organization, was able to implement a new business requirement and actually go live in under 1 hour. Today, I would like to tour how the software development cycle was and drill down some of these new capabilities and improvements we are working on. The vision for these capabilities is actually to get developers to be 100 times more productive than as of today. So as a product team, we actually felt the need to find a way to measure these productivity enhancements. So after some deep research over product telemetry and product usage, we settled on what we today call the OutSystems Development Productivity Model. So today, I can easily say that we obsess over productivity. Understanding where users spend most of their time is key for our automation strategy. So the model actually boils down to two things: doing things that matter faster and removing activities that are wasteful. As an example, I can share that as of today, 15% of all development time is spent doing one-click push operations, updating consumers, managing dependencies, so operations that bring no value to the final apps. So we actually consider this wasted development time. And keep that term in mind, as I will showcasing how these new capabilities always affect and reduce the wasted development time. To start our tour, we know that the development process has evolved immensely. It's more complex, it has many more personas, everyone needs to participate, and this highly contributes to wasted development time. We have wait times, when handover times, all this brings complexity. Throughout the years, we've launched numerous tools and consoles actually to address all these different personas. But here, I would like to showcase our new unified, personalized experience across the whole product. Users will be able to manage, monitor, and deploy their apps in one single place. Every need is one click away, no more wasted time. Yes, this actually means no more Service Center, Lifetime, Integration Studio, Forge, or even the product documentation as isolated experiences. One unique address for the entire OutSystems journey. Now, data shows us that 80% of new apps require external data. And when it comes to systems of records, we're usually talking about 40 hours of development of a highly skilled developer. So to drastically reduce this waste time, we've embedded directly into the product support for the most used system of records: Microsoft Dataverse, Microsoft Dynamics, MongoDB, Salesforce, and SAP. With a couple of clicks, any developer can start using live external data and speed up the initial setup. Then, it's a matter of choosing the best UI pattern. Through our Start From Data approach, we use AI to suggest the appropriate patterns for the external data and also display third-party alternatives tailored to that very exact same data. Now, delivering enterprise-grade mission-critical systems is very complex. Just the time that it takes to design the architecture, the experience, and the skill set usually increase the lead time and requires a high-level skill set. Industry standards have evolved to highly decoupled microservice architectures that allow independent delivery and scalability. But those also introduce extra layers of complexity on top of these architectures. So to simplify the development, we're shifting to an app-level development model, where we always ensure deployment and runtime scalability Each app is isolated in its own communicator and communicate through services. Apps can be independently deployed, thus ensuring continuous agility. To extend apps, all existing services and entities are available, and we are promoting libraries as a first-class citizen in OutSystems development. This means libraries will have their own life cycles. We can have multiple versions of the same library, and each application can select the version of the library that it uses. So in the practical example, what does this mean? For instance, if Neobank wants to change their branding, they can create a new version of the library that has its style guide and slowly roll it out across the applications, instead of a big bang approach where just the change management process is very hard to execute. Our evergreen application architecture allows organizations to scale their portfolios to any size of dev teams and/or applications without impacting productivity and agility to continuous deliver, thus deeply reducing the wasted development time. Reuse of libraries and services for application composition is effectively governed, and technical debt is always kept at a manageable level by constant code analysis and quality gates at every stage. So lastly, we know that CI/CD practices have evolved immensely. So the business requires more and more applications, and they require it faster. And the skill set to actually answer to this space is really hard, not to mention the tools and typical costs associated with these cycles. So we're aiming at bringing modern CI/CD practices to any team or organization without the massive costs typically required. We're investing heavily in reinventing the continuous integration cycle. Today, developers have a hard time connecting their user stories to the actual changes they perform on the code. So it's hard because I have a user story, I have a lot of different modules, I deploy one module, I reference into the other one. I completely lose this type of traceability, not to mention that it's hard to connect to the deployment itself. So just the traceability can be difficult to execute. So with the app level development, we're actually performing automated code traceability throughout the application. All changes are tracked and mapped to the user stories on the backlog. So we're allowing any developer to connect with their project management tool of choice. To frequently deliver user stories, developers need to develop, test, and collaborate in isolation from other teams. So we're introducing branching to do just that. Yes, I've said branching. It will be the default development model to quickly bring new value. But the user story is not only about the code. It requires functional correctness, validation, and code configurations. So we're ensuring that all these are bundled together and applied on all stages. Speaking of stages, this is one of the biggest changes of our new platform. So today we have environments where each environment has its own code repository, which means that we are basically moving our source code, recompiling, redeploying in every single environment we have. And this is a problem, of course, for wasted development time, as developers have to wait for these huge cycles to end, but also for compliance reasons, as there's no guarantee that the end code is actually exactly the same that was on the certification process. So for our new platform, we have a centralized code repository in which, after a developer clicks one-click publish, we compile the code, we generate the image, container image, and we actually store that binary, which means that when we're staging between all these stages, we actually are just copying that binary and applying the configurations. So that's how large deployments move from hours to minutes. Apps are now deployed independently, meaning we can have as many apps deployed in parallel as we would like. Optionally, our CI/CD pipelines can be fully automated, allowing new features to reach productions in minutes, all while minimizing regressions and complying with IT certification processes. To do this, we provide AI-powered unit testing and technical depth validation to ensure the code that reaches production abides by the quality standards defined by your organization. In summary, each version of an application is fully traceable back to the deployment packages that were generated, the tests that were executed, and its features mapped to the original user stories in the product backlog. The staging and approval steps can be done with just one click, where each application has an independent delivery pipeline. So, thank you for listening in. We've just walked through several innovative ways where we're really improving your overall productivity. And this is just a glimpse of what the future looks like. And I hope you are as excited as I am for what's to come. Sign up for the public preview